Hey everybody, just thought I would do a bit of a hobby table update today as I'm starting to do historical. Over the last couple of days, as I was finishing up the Beastman and getting videos for that recorded, I started cleaning up the replacement British Hatmen from Minden Miniatures that are just like the ones that I had in the spring. Jim Perky's actually always really generous. I always find that if he doesn't actually provide extra stuff, like extra miniatures in case, like let's say a bayonet breaks, he, when sending replacements, provides extras, and he's just really good to deal with over at Minden Miniatures. So if any of you are interested in these miniatures, I will just sort of say that that's a nice personal touch of the business, the way he conducts his business. I did end up receiving a couple of broken bayonets. He packed everything really well, but they're just really kind of flimsy on the top. I mean, bayonets, just kind of the nature of metal bayonets. And what I'm going to probably do, initially I kind of thought, everything here is really extra anyway. Initially, I think he sent me an extra pack of Hatman to begin with, and so, and so what I would say is I'm probably going to cut the bayonet remnants off of these and maybe use them on a command stand as guards or something like that, just without their bayonets. I don't know what you guys think. That's what I'll probably end up doing. They're just nice little extras to have. Don't think they make good casualties because they're standing at attention. And so, I don't really know too much what to show during this project except for maybe a little update when it's completed, just because I've already done several stages with these guys here that I've already shown, in the spring when I painted the larger group. So I'm going to paint these up and hoping that they'll go a lot quicker for multiple reasons. Like, there's not that many of them, and I've done this already now, recently, with these exact miniatures. And so I'm hoping to do a pretty nice job on these, to the standard that I was happy with before, and get these ones done. I've got all my paints back there. I was going through my phone. I'm starting to do diaries more and more. There was a time when I just was real lazy and took the artistic approach of just kind of eyeing it and going with it. It's kind of like my wife with soups and chilies. I tell her, oh, this one is amazing, you really got to save this, and she's like, no, I just don't do that. She just works with whatever's in the fridge, and it's very rare that I get like that exact one again. Well, I try to now put in my phone and do journals of just certain things. I'm doing that with the Beastmen in particular and this French Indian War project, and so I am working with the same paints from the last time. And so that should be interesting. And then I have here what I had said in that recent video. I alluded to how I've got some artillery to do for the British. And so what I have here are what I've done actually years ago now. I did the Minden British Artillery crew, and so I've got a set of crew with their attachments. Sorry, this light, it's hard to see on white, kind of glaring with this plastic, but this is crew that I've done before, and this is a British 6-pounder cannon, which I already have. I really do like this cannon model, the miniature itself. I think it's a really nice metal cannon. I didn't put the last one on a base. I'm regretting that a little, I think because I was using it for a skirmish game. I didn't really do the artillery crew on a base either. I actually, for Musket and Tomahawks, had them on individual bases. I think I'm going to go kind of halfway, and I might end up putting the one I've already done on a base and putting this one on a separate base. And then I was just sort of using it on the board. I put some extra gloss under the varnish under the metal wheels, and I've just been using it on the board that way. But I think I'm going to base it like this one on a small base, probably a small square base. And I'll do these guys still on individual bases is what I'll do. So I can use them both for Musket and Tomahawks and Sharps practice. This will be essentially two cannon, for British 6-pounder. And then once I am going to pull, as I said in the other video, my other guys out and do some final stages on those as I do these final stages, just because I feel that in the time that I've been doing it, I've changed my technique a little bit on highlighting, and I'd like to incorporate that over, have them look the same. So that'll be good. I'll just touch those guys up. Aside from that, I just was looking, and I've got a lot of French to paint when this is done, so that's kind of a good thing. French will have not quite as many French regulars. I did order the same, but I got some extras on the British. And so I'll be doing the French, and then I'll end up doing French artillery. I also have a French officer, which I didn't have. I already had on the British side, so a little bit more to paint there. So I have a little bit to do there, and then once I'm finished with that, I can think about other things to do for French-Indian War. I'm expecting that's going to take me through the holidays easily with the way I paint. Kind of self-deprecating when it comes to that. I've got Rusty, my compadre, Musty Wargamers, and he just kind of is so much more efficient than I am. And so that should take me through the holidays, I'm thinking for sure, and I'll probably most likely be talking about how long it's taking me in the new year to finish. Good news is I'm just going to put a little, for those of you that were interested in the Crantera Canadian Marines, the French Marines, that could be used for things like sharps practice, or musket and tomahawks that would match these style of miniatures, shared by the same sculptors. Those are actually available on the website now. So if you're interested, I did show those in a French-Indian War video recently, the greens, but they are available. You can get, I believe it's 6 different poses with then an NCO separate pose, but there's also lots of officers too that can complement these style of miniatures for 7 Years War. Additional officers. Minden Miniatures has officers too, but I find in games like Sharps Practice, where there's so much based on the big men, that having some different alternative sculpts is really a nice thing, with your officers, instead of having necessarily the same guy all the time. And so I am planning on placing an order, and I think what I'm going to do is, at one point during my French-Indian War painting, kind of treat myself when I make some progress on this, either maybe when I'm into my French or something, to essentially treat myself and place a Crantera order, and then also probably an order of flags as well. And then that'll be fun. That'll be great. Add that stuff to my historical stuff. And I'm also really interested in the First Nations, Native Americans that have been talked about, that Crantera is going to offer with this style miniatures. So that should be really great. So yeah, I hope you guys follow along with this. Maybe put it in the comments. I don't know how often you guys want to see updates or interested, but it's kind of one of those sticky subjects. People don't want to tell you they don't want to see you, but then at the same time, I think some people just prefer to see completed projects and not too many work in progresses, and I can understand that too. I am probably going to, despite all my hobbying time being focused on historical, I'm probably going to maybe put up a battle report of, let's say, 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy at one point, because I'm playing that. And in the future, I'm kind of looking forward to putting up battle reports on Sharp Practice for this. So, okay, everybody. Well, I hope everybody's having a good one, and talk to you later.